前做二板东可以赚得盆满钵满，现在不但赚不到钱，还亏本。他问我怎么办，我说你凡是不要了呗，还给板东了。
Amid China's weakening economy, a real-life political drama unfolds. Wall Street's financial giants once held sway in China's capital markets, manipulating change. Unexpectedly, they withdrew and openly criticized China's economy. Was this prompted by economic data or hidden motivations? Despite China's renowned market control, the government seems powerless to salvage it. Are they truly impotent, or is a deeper strategy at play? Sharp decline in foreign visitors raises concerns about China's attractiveness on global stage. There was a headline in the Wall Street about the latest issue in China. Foreign people are reluctant to come. How serious is it? They did a survey. Normally, there were about 3.7 million foreign tourists or business travelers entering China in a quarter. But in the first quarter, the number dropped drastically to only 50,000. And they did a breakdown, including people from the US, Europe, Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, almost all experiencing a decline. This decline indicates a problem. Because now the supply chain is broken, many industries have left. People are feeling uneasy about the situation in China. If this sense of insecurity continues, all foreign people might not want to come to China. This will have a huge impact on China. We used to say that although China is a dictatorship, it's still an open country. It attracted tourists, capital technology, and people from all over the world. But now the statistics from the first quarter of this year show that the number of foreigners coming to China dropped from 3.7 million to 50,000. China used to attract global capital and talent. But now it seems it has lost our appeal. Money can't attract people anymore. Factories are moving away. Looking at tourism numbers, in the first quarter of 2019, there were 3.7 million foreign people coming to China for tourism or business. But this year, in the first quarter, it dropped to only 50,000, which is 0.59 of what it used to be. Among these 50,000 people, most are from Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau. Only 25,000 are from Europe, the US, Japan, South Korea, and other parts of the world. So these people now see China as a restricted area, a place they will absolutely not step foot in. There's a lawyer from a law firm in China that provides consulting services. He said the company is very concerned about sending his employees to China, he said. The company's employees are not willing to go unless absolutely necessary. Many of my friends work for foreign companies. They said people from Taiwan working for Canadian or American companies should not go to China either. They might be arrested, so people are really cautious about going to foreign companies, especially in China. They're afraid of being arrested. The number of tourists received by domestic travel agencies for inbound tourism has sharply declined. In the first quarter of 2023, the number of tourists received by domestic travel agencies for inbound tourism was only 52,000, a staggering 98.6% drop compared to the same period last year. Among these 52,000 foreign visitors, 78 came from Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, while the majority of the rest came from Southeast Asia, with very few European and American tourists visiting China. Xiao Qianhui, president of the Wisdom Tourism branch of the China Tourism Association, said the entire inbound tourism industry chain has disintegrated, and the revival of inbound tourism is urgent. High-spending tourists from Europe, the United States, and Japan and South Korea have dropped drastically. Are foreigners not coming anymore? Several sets of data raise concerns. In the first quarter of this year, the number of visitors for inbound tourism was only 52,000, a significant decrease compared to 3.7 million in the same period in 2019. Looking at the long term, the total number of foreigners coming to China has been decreasing over the past decade. For example, there were 208,000 visitors in 2011, which decreased to 163,000 in 2021, a one-fifth reduction. Challenges and concerns surrounding China's inbound tourism industry. During a speech at a branch of the China Tourism Association, someone pointed out that the most severely affected segment of the entire tourism industry is inbound tourism, and the entire supply chain has almost collapsed. The current visitors to China mainly come from countries with lower consumer power such as Vietnam, Russia, and Myanmar. He also witnessed firsthand the trend of foreigners leaving, with many resident foreigners returning to their home countries, especially in Shanghai. In the past, the European Union was friendly to China, but things have changed. The head of the European Chamber of Commerce in China now says they don't trust China's promises anymore. They're tired of China not keeping its promises this year. Many people, including important leaders like Li Qiang, said they would protect foreign investment and work towards certain goals. However, they haven't actually done much about it. The president of the European Chamber of Commerce talked directly to Li Qiang and Brundtland. He complained that when they meet with Chinese government officials, the officials don't listen. They only say things that sound good but don't really take action. This problem was highlighted by Wall Street Journal, which reported that China has opened its borders, but not many people from other countries are coming to visit. Before, there used to be boutique tours for visitors from the US and Europe, and these tours would fill up quickly. But this year, none of those tours happened. This shows that foreigners are not so interested in coming to China anymore. Foreign interest in China wanes amidst changing atmosphere and concerns. Let's take a few examples. After the movie Avatar, Zhangjiajie City in China became popular, so many foreigners wanted to go there. But up until now, there have been only 25,600 overseas tourists in that area. In comparison, during the first 5 months of 2019, there were 500,000. Another example is a high-end travel agency in the US. They used to send 1,500 tourists to China every year. But this year, the owner complained that they haven't received a single reservation. A video appeared on Chinese social media in June. It showed a Chinese man standing on a quiet street in Shanghai called Fuxing Road. He pointed to the empty buildings around and said that many foreign managers from big companies had left. This made the rent for fancy apartments in Shanghai go down a lot. The man said before Yongkang Road was full of foreigners. The street was crowded. But now there are no foreigners. Only Chinese people. The foreigners have all gone. Matt Kelly, a business consultant from Boston, recalls a fond memory of cycling through the picturesque city of Guilin 15 years ago. Located in the southern region of China, Guilin is known for its hilly landscapes and scenic beauty. Kelly had visited China twice more after that, but he now expresses a lack of interest in returning. Would I go back to the China I used to know? Absolutely, he said. However, he finds himself uneasy now due to the portrayal of China as a country that seems to be strongly against the West, particularly the United States. Another firm, Harris Bricken, which provides consulting services for investment in China, has expressed a similar sentiment. Dan Harris, a partner at the firm in Seattle, mentioned to Wall Street Journal that while corporate executives still inquire about traveling to China, their current focus is on the risks involved, whereas in the past they were more concerned with expediting visa processes. Harris, who used to frequently travel to Beijing, China for business, stated, "Various companies are extremely concerned about their employees going to China. How could they not be worried?" He referred to recent incidents where China has conducted investigations into Western due diligence firms and other companies, including the sudden inspections of global consulting firms like Bain Company. People will only go to China if absolutely necessary. Similarly, Mondi Holdings, a travel technology company based in Austin, noted that leisure travel from North America to China in the first half of 2023 accounted for about 40% of the volume during the same period in 2019. In 2019, Mondi sold around 500,000 tickets for flights from North America to China through travel agencies and other intermediaries, constituting about 1/5 of the total air travel volume from North America to China that year. Investors and foreign tourists who have returned from China share the same feelings. They think that the overall atmosphere has completely changed. The feeling of being intimidated is very strong, and the worst part is people are not returning anymore. Secretary of State expresses concern over detained American citizens in China. Apart from what was mentioned earlier, even the U.S. Secretary of State, Blinken, talked about some issues. Right now, there are 3 American citizens who have been detained in China, including people like David Lin and Edward Snowden. These individuals are being held without proper discussion with us, so Blinken advises that people should avoid going to China as many are being unfairly detained. He specifically mentioned David Lin, who is a pastor and has also been detained. Similar situations happened to others like Li Mengzhu, who was held for taking a few pictures in a restaurant and ended up being detained for 4 years. Foreigners selling properties amidst real estate decline and economic concerns in China. Moreover, there's a story about Procter & Gamble. In China's investigation of virtual currency, one of the co-founders of the virtual currency SP named Liang Liang was arrested. Surprisingly, the reason for his arrest was that the police allegedly wanted to keep his money. Liang suspects that the police might have taken his Bitcoin, worth around 2 million Taiwanese dollars, as it hasn't been returned. Regarding real estate, there has been a significant drop in property prices in Shanghai. Many foreigners are selling their properties and trying to move their money out of China. A similar situation is observed in Hong Kong, where a project by Cheung Kong Property Holdings caught attention due to price cuts. Recently, global stock markets are rising and the world economy is recovering, but China is experiencing stagnation or even a decline. China has started implementing policies to boost its economy, but the question is whether they truly realize the issues. These concerns have sparked discussions in Chinese society, especially about the economic downturn in Shanghai. People are feeling sad, and Shanghai's economic showcase seems to have lost its shine, and even Shanghai is facing difficulties. There was a notable post on the mainland Chinese internet discussing Shanghai's gloomy situation, but this post has been removed. Shanghai's changing landscape. Economic concerns and shifts in luxury real estate market. There have also been changes in Shanghai, China. They mention walking out of the so-called Hongqiao station and feeling that it's not the same as before. They talk about important roads in Shanghai, like Nanjing Road, which used to be bustling with people, but now many shops are closed. They mention landmarks like the Bund, which used to be crowded, but now lacks visitors due to the closure of shops. The author emphasizes Shanghai's economic importance and mentions its GDP and role in global trade. They express concern about the decline in Shanghai's vibrancy, citing closed shops and businesses. They discuss a deleted article that spoke honestly about Shanghai's situation. The author reflects on the changes and hopes for a recovery. They mention challenges faced by both Shanghai and the country as a whole. They discuss the impact of policy decisions, including the temporary lockdown due to the pandemic, which surprised and scared many people. The author talks about wealthy people leaving and how this affects the city's economy. They express sadness about the situation and hope for a better future for Shanghai. In the past, China had a rhyming saying, "Haven't been to Shanghai, you don't know the height of buildings there." This is because buildings in Shanghai are very tall and there are many wealthy people and a large population. However, what's the situation now? Currently, for the people of Shanghai, you can see this? This is the current situation. Look at the Binjiang Garden in the World Trade Center with 235 units listed for future sale and the highest listing price currently. All of these are well-known and good communities in Shanghai like the waterfront or riverside gardens. These are all high-end residences because there are fewer wealthy people now, like this, top luxury homes. For example, the Binjiang Hospital recently sold for 166 million yuan. Yes, that's right. However, this number, compared to the past, where it used to be 200 or 300 million, now it's 166 million. How can you see such a number? In fact, the current real estate market in Shanghai is facing tremendous pressure. Evaluating Xi Jinping's efforts to stabilize the market and global perceptions. Can Xi Jinping's recent efforts to save the market be effective in time? Lately, the mainland seems to have realized the seriousness of the situation, acknowledging the employment problem as a national strategic concern, despite previously recognizing it as such. They've introduced 6 favorable policies, including boosting the capital market and adjusting real estate regulations. However, their attempts to boost foreign investor confidence haven't been embraced by entrepreneurs. Short-term fixes can only do so much. Genuine, lasting policies are needed for medium and long-term stability. Looking at various economic indicators, China's economy is struggling. Even Wall Street is cautious, with many investors pulling out, including previously optimistic figures like Dalio and Wood. A sense of an impending lost decade for China has emerged, adding pressure on Xi Jinping. His grand birthday celebration for Ji Xinji, an old friend of China, may not hold the same significance in the US, where Ji Qingji is a political figure, but it's a different story in China. Treating him respectfully at home contrasts with how he's perceived abroad. The idea of wielding both kindness and authority may not be as effective as hoped.